Chapter 19, Headlines. In moments, Bill was surrounded by reporters with questions. Tom grabbed Bill's arm and pulled him out of the hearing room into the hall and then began to accelerate towards the conference room. As they turned the corner, a television reporter appeared and thrust a microphone toward him and asked, "Dr. Elder, how are you taking the news about the Nobel Prize awarded to Johns Hopkins for what they call the evolutionary history algorithm?" Bill was stunned. He stood dumbfounded while the cameraman zoomed in on his hurt expression. The reporter prodded further. "They say it can be used to calibrate the evolutionary molecular clock. Do you have any comments?" Tom pushed them aside as the Senate aides finally joined them to usher Bill into the conference room. The door was finally pulled closed and locked behind them to shut off the noise of the reporters amassing outside. Bill sank in a chair and just stared down at the table for quite some time. Finally looked up to aides to ask, "Can we have some privacy?" The aides excused themselves and slipped out the door at the opposite end of the room. "Tom, I need to call Andrew." "Sure, Bill. That's what we said we'd do. But do you want to talk about this for a minute before you call Andrew?" "We can talk later. Right now, I need to talk to Andrew." "Sure, Bill." Tom waited, looking to Bill for further direction. Finally, Bill realized all he had to do was pull out his cell phone and push the send button. Tom could hear the first ring, and then he heard Andrew's voice. Bill braced himself. "Dad, is that you?" "Yes, Andrew, I'm here. You called?" "Dad, have you seen the headlines? They are all about you and me. What are you doing? What have you done? Why am I involved? Why did you tell them I have AIDS?" "Andrew, no. I would never tell anyone something like that. I called as soon as I could. I am so sorry, Andrew. I am so sorry." Bill's voice began to break up. "So you knew. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. My life is ruined. I hope you are happy. Where are you?" "I'm at the Senate building. The hearing just got over." "Well, this should be a really great day for you. But, I really don't care. I've got to go now." The phone went dead. Bill just held the phone to his ear until his arm finally dropped and he slumped in his chair. There was silence as Bill's chest heaved slow, deep breaths until he finally let go. "What have I done?" Slowly he began to weep. Tom stood by, uncertain what to do. He reached out to touch his shoulder, but then pulled back. Bill's efforts to contain his weeping only led to sobs. Tom could only stand by as he watched his friends suffer. He looked up to heaven and cried out for help for Bill, for Andrew, and for himself. After quite some time, Bill finally managed to pull himself together. He looked up to Tom and said, "I am so sorry, Tom, for pulling you into all of this. I guess things didn't go as I'd hoped for." "You're right. This is not what we hoped for. But remember, I was part of this every step of the way. I don't know why things went so badly, except to say that we are naive. It seems like a lot of things have changed for us now. Even so, I believe that something good will still come out of this. I have no idea what, but something good. Tom, let's get out of here." Both men wiped their eyes and straightened themselves out as best they could. Tom reached for the doorknob and hesitated. Looking at Bill, he said, "Are you ready?" Bill responded, "Ready." They opened the door and slipped into the hallway. In the lobby, reporters were engaged with Senators Ressler and Broomer, with Richardson standing ill at ease next to a minister with a backward collar. As they moved by unnoticed, they paused to hear the senators reading from a scripted list of sound bites about advancements in scientific research, quenching of creationism, and a European alliance for science and technology. The Intercon logo was apparent on the script and on a pop-up screen set up in the lobby. When they'd heard enough, Bill and Tom began to turn away. At just that moment, the eyes of Dr. Elder and Dr. Richardson met. Bill, who appeared wounded, and Mike, who appeared uneasy, engaged in some sort of exchange until Richardson's eyes finally turned away. Without further being recognized, Bill and Tom quietly slipped out the lobby. Just then a reporter raised a question. "Senators, now with the attacks on the World Trade Center and Cape Kennedy and the rising religious tensions in America, many fear we may soon see terrorism in the heartland." Senator Broomer looked to his script and responded eagerly. "We believe there is reason for optimism in this regard. We have become aware of an alliance with a group of influential conservative religious leaders that is a first step towards bringing private school curriculum into alignment with public schools in America. There's work yet to be done regarding fundamentalist homeschooling, but we believe the momentum is with us. Right here with us today is the Reverend Lawrence Page, Canon of Westminster Abbey. As the director of the Clergy Letter Project, he organized the recent worldwide bicentennial celebration of Darwin Day. As the president said in her address, this historical event marks the long-awaited reconciliation of religion to science. Yes, we can finally see the specter of American religious extremism, and perhaps of the world, fallen into twilight. Richardson seemed to grow increasingly uncomfortable with the political slogans and gestured cues directed by PR operatives just outside the view of the cameras, and so he slowly moved back and away, eventually slipping unnoticed down a hall and finally out of sight.